Hey everybody, it's Amanda from TimeTravelHypnosis.com, and I am finally getting around to figuring out how to make a little video with the pictures I took at the historic and haunted Crescent Hotel and our ghost tour that we took there the night we stayed, which was last weekend, I think, in May. Was it May or April? Anyway, so the Crescent Hotel was built in the late 1800s in the town of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, when there was a big rush there because of the healing springs, or the rumor of the healing springs there. So people would come to take the waters, you know. But unfortunately, everybody flocking there and the town growing so fast contaminated the waters that they were trying to heal themselves with, and it kind of became known as like not so much. It wasn't really helping anybody to heal by that time. So this guy that had built this huge, beautiful hotel in the late 1800s and invited all his friends from back east to come, you know, well, I call them the hoity-toity, the richy riches, who came out and had all these activities, horseback riding and whatnot, games and things that they would play at the hotel. That kind of faded out. And then it became, I think for a while it was a hotel and a girls' school at the same time. I'm not sure if they had guests in the summer and a girls' school in the winter. I'm not sure how it worked, but it was a girls' school also for a while. And then it was kind of abandoned for a few years or a decade or something like that. And then this guy named Norman Baker came and bought it and opened a cancer curable hospital. But apparently he didn't actually have a cure for cancer. And a lot of people say he was a complete con artist. He'd been run out of another town for practicing medicine without a license and all these other kind of things. But while I was there, I kind of tuned into the energy to see what I could get about him. And if you're new to my channel, you'll know that I do this kind of thing. Anyway, what I got was that he wasn't purposely trying to swindle people or just take their money and kill the people. It was more like his ego was so big that he believed that because he was doing it, then people would actually be cured, and it didn't matter what he did, because it was his idea and because it was him orchestrating the whole thing, that he would actually cure people. And he may have convinced himself that he was curing people. I don't know how, but he just comes across as somebody with this huge ego and this fantastic ability just to convince people of things. So because while I was there, I was thinking, well, how did all these nurses and helpers not see that like all these people were just dying? Because apparently hundreds of people died, and he's only there for like 22 months. He only had it open less than 2 years before he was arrested for mail fraud. I guess that's all they could get him on. Anyway, so I just feel like he was really good at convincing people of things, and he had people believing. And they said he never cured anybody of cancer, which is kind of weird to me, because even the placebo effect works a certain percentage of time. You know, you would think he was so convincing that somebody would have been healed just by the thought that, you know, they were going to be cured. But another thing I picked up on as soon as we got there was this feeling of, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. You know, and I've been there before, and I know what everything is like. And we got up there and we got checked in and we got to our room, and I had this feeling of like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. So I was analyzing that, like, why am I thinking that? It's exactly what I knew it was going to be. I've been here before. And then I realized I'm tapping into that hospital time when, you know, the patients would come or their families would come to drop them off, and they'd get there and they'd settled in, and then they'd realize, this is not curing me. This is not medicine. This is not what I thought it was going to be. This isn't any kind of thing I thought it was going to be. So those are some of the things I tapped in on when we checked in. So moving on. Recently they found in the back and they found a bunch of bottles with liquid and things in them, like tumors and whatnot. And they have a picture, I think, from somebody that had owned the hotel after that guy who used to display those bottles. It was from the time of the Baker hospital. I guess they had removed some tumors or something. I'm not sure what they were, but yeah, some archaeologists went and excavated, and they found so many of those, and they're actually sending them off to be tested to see what's inside of them. So that'll be exciting when they get that back. Let's see, and then there's I just took some pictures of the very old interior. It looks Victorian. They've restored it back to the Victorian, the original furniture. There's like a little thing behind the check-in desk, has the little holes for the little cubbies for the keys, and they do use actual keys with the big gold metal key tag with your room number on it, so that's kind of cool. There's a little lobby area. The elevator. When I take a picture of the elevator, there's not a whole lot of natural light inside. The lobby area has got like the front doors, and then you go through to the back patio, and you can see down the hill. It's just a really beautiful view. But inside, there's almost no natural light except for that lobby area. So everything has a kind of weird artificial light, weird misty quality to it that makes it feel kind of spooky. But the elevator, when I took that picture, when I zoom in, kind of like the left part right over the elevator door, there's kind of like a little orb trail or something, like you can see the motion of something. I don't know how I feel about orbs. It could be dust. There was a lot of, well, I'm not gonna say there was a lot of dust. There was some dust, and I could see it with my eyes, but most of my pictures don't have any dust in them. So that was the only one I got that picture and another video that had a little orb that I can't post because as soon as I upload it, the quality disappears and you can't see the orb anymore. So I can watch it on my phone, but that's it. Anyway, orbs. And then I took some pictures of our room. They have Victorian furniture in them. Little ceiling medallion above the light. Trying to scroll here so I can see what pictures I took, and it just won't let me. Yeah, the room was kind of weird because I guess probably back in the times when it was built, you would either have somebody bring a tub up to your room to bathe, or you'd have like a little basin and a pitcher, or the bathroom's down the hall. That's probably the most likely thing, is the bathroom's down the hall and it's a shared bathroom or something. But they have built in these little closet looking things, but the doors have glass in them, and one side was our sink in a little closet area with like a ironing board, and then the other side was the toilet and the shower. So that was kind of interesting. I like how they made it look similar. It's got a little transom, which is the same as our the door to our room, which I'm pretty sure all the doors to the rooms are original. Because the transoms have been painted over, but these little insets look newer. Like they made them to try to look like the original doors, but they're not. You can tell they're not. They're new. So, and they don't have standard doorknobs. They have little what's it called? Those little slide latch things. And I'm wondering if that's because doorknobs kept rattling or something, and so they had to take all the doorknobs out. I don't know. I've got a picture of the hallway because it's both cool and creepy at the same time. So it's hard to not get a little creeped out because it kind of looks like The Shining in there sometimes. Okay, so that was our room. Nothing happened in there. We recorded video, infrared, took lots of pictures, didn't ever find anything in any of them. But that night we took the ghost tour, and this is our Dame Diane dressed up ghost tour person. And she is standing in front of Michael's room, 218. We were in 213. Nothing happened. But 218 apparently is where all the action is, or some of it. A young man apparently fell and died while the building was under construction, and they think this area is where he died. So a lot of experiences in 218. And she's holding up a picture. I don't know how they know if this is a picture of him or she's just holding up a general picture. I don't know. Okay, so the tour of the building was kind of cool. There were a couple points where she had handed out EMF meters, and there are some known spots where they go off, and there aren't, electrical things around that area. So, and I did get a video of, she was talking about the cancer victims, and all of a sudden the two girls who were standing side by side holding the EMF detectors, one had hers a little further to the right of me, and hers didn't go off right away, but the other girls went off. So, that happened several times. And I did get a video of another time we were in a hallway and another lady was holding the EMF detector, and I had just started a video, and right as her EMF detector went off, this little, I have to call it an orb because that's what people call them, but it's like this little light anomaly went from the top of that EMF detector towards, in between me and the guy standing next to me. It went over his shoulder, and I can't do the video because you can't see it. As soon as I upload it, the video quality's gone, and it's hard to see anyway. So that was that. Okay, for any of you who have seen the Ghost Hunters episode of the Crescent Hotel, I think it's season 2, episode 1. This is the famous locker from that episode where they caught the, what's it called? The thermal image of some guy standing there in a hat. And it looks to me like, when you watch the episode, that he tilts his head down a little. The interesting thing to me about this is that number 2, which looked like was on his shoulder, the apparition's shoulder in the video, is actually like more at eye level. So it's kind of weird to me. But yeah, that's the one. And this room looks like they're refinishing it. Like, they've changed the morgue, which is down at the ground level. I took a ghost tour about 15 years ago, and I don't remember it looking anything like this. I remember the sink thing, the what's it called? The embalming table thing, because I was leaning against it during the first tour, and I had shorts on because it was summer, and I felt what I thought was a dog brush past me and brush up against my legs, and I turned and I looked and I didn't see anything, and I thought, oh, that's weird. And then later on, like a minute later, the tour guide person said that people often feel a dog or a cat brushing up against their legs. So they didn't mention that this time, but the first time I was there, that actually happened to me before they said anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. So, but during that time, 15 years ago, they had normal lights in there, and I remember coming in from a different direction. Now they've got a little room where they show the clip from that Ghost Hunters episode, and then they've got the little room where this locker thing is that was on the episode, and then they've got a whole bunch of shelves where they're going to display all the bottles and things that they just found. So they've already built shelves there. But I'll tell you, when I went into this room, and I don't know if it has to do with the locker, because I was standing in the opposite corner from that locker, but I felt so heavy and sick when I walked into this room. Now, granted, there's a smell down there, and I don't know if they're mopping the floor with formaldehyde, because I don't remember the smell 15 years ago, but there's a smell in there, and the ceilings are a lot lower than they are in the hotel. So part of it could have to do with that. But I got sick when I walked into this room, and I just felt a heaviness on my chest, and in my gut I just had this like dread. It wasn't fear, it was just like dread, like acceptance and dread of whatever I was accepting. Like, I felt horrible about it. It's kind of the feeling I had. And then I started to get physically nauseated. I was nauseated in there, and I just wanted to go outside and breathe, but I was trying to be a trooper. Then we walked into the other room that had the freezer where they stored the bodies, and the morgue table thing. I felt just only slightly better in there. And then finally, when we left and went out through the laundry area, the further away I got from that area, the better I felt. And it didn't have to do with how high the ceilings were. It could have had to do something with the smell, though, to be honest. Anyway, so that was the morgue. And let me tell you about the picture that I took. Okay, so this is in the morgue. This is like when you walk in from outside, there's a little seating area. They've got a TV, and they show the clip from Ghost Hunters with that locker and the picture of the apparition. So I was just taking a picture of us sitting in there. I don't know what inspired me, but whenever I feel inspired to take a picture, no matter where I am, I do it, because you never know what's going to happen. And it's very dark in there, so I'm not sure if this is anything. I haven't been back in the room, in that room to see what this is. But on the wall, you can see a big poster, and then there's a little paper, and then there's a slightly bigger paper. But in between those two papers on the wall, there is some weird thing there. And when I zoom in, it looks creepy. Like, is it a face? Is it a reflection? I mean, the walls weren't shiny. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a face or a energy or foggies. I don't know what it is. But I thought I'd show you guys because it was kind of weird. I don't remember seeing it there when I took the picture. So that's interesting. Thought I'd throw that in. Don't know what that is. Okay, so that's all for the ghost tour. After the morgue, we were done. So the next morning, we had coupons for free breakfast buffet, which was amazing, really good, in the Crystal Dining Room. So that's where we went for breakfast the next morning. It was fabulous. And it was so pretty that I had to take some pictures, of course. So I went to the middle of the room, took a picture out towards the windows, which I guess is the front of the hotel. And then later, as I was looking at the pictures, I realized there's a guy standing there's an image of a man in the mirror, and I don't see the actual man standing in front of the mirror. It's that one on the left. You can see in the bottom right corner, there's a little something in that mirror. Now, those two mirrors, there's one on either side of the windows, and they're at like 45-degree angles. They're in the corners there. Excuse me. So I zoomed in, and sure enough, there's the face of a man with a mustache. Looks like he's wearing black. And you zoom back out, and it's like, I don't see that guy. Now, when I look at the other mirror on the other corner, I can see the wait staff person in a blue shirt being reflected in the mirror, and I can even see the guy getting his food at the buffet, closer to me, reflected in that mirror. But when I look in the other mirror, I cannot figure out where this guy is. So that was kind of weird. I was convinced I had something. But then, if you look at the picture I took right before that, if you look at the bank of windows, now the first picture where the guy's reflected, there's a man standing in the second to the right window. And then the next picture I take, he's in the first window. I guess I took that one first. He's in front of the first window, and you don't see a reflection. Now, my husband convinced me that it's the angle of this mirror and where I was standing, that the guy standing in front of one of those windows is the person reflected in that mirror. That's the only possible explanation, because there's nobody standing in front of that mirror that could be reflected like that. So anyway, that was interesting to me. Tell me in the comments, do you think it's that guy standing in front of the windows on the right that's being reflected in that mirror way on the left, or do you think I caught something real, like a ghost? Real like a ghost. Because ghosts are real. I've seen one. Anyway, that is pretty much it for our fabulous ghost tour, I think. Let me see if I've forgotten anything. Nope, I think that's it. We had a really fun time. We walked downtown around Eureka Springs in the downtown area. They have lots of good restaurants. I've heard the Basin Park Hotel, which is downtown, or down in the historic district, is more haunted than the Crescent. There's also the New Orleans Hotel. There's another ghost tour that doesn't just, well, there's a Basin Park ghost tour, I think, and then there's another tour that's like a bus tour that you drive around and check all different locations. So I might do that sometime. If you're going to book a stay here, I highly recommend you call them, and if you want a haunted room, ask them for a haunted room. I just requested through the online thing for a room with paranormal activity. I didn't specifically request Michael's room, or what's the other one, Theodora's room, or I think there's one other. There's like 3 main rooms that are haunted, and I didn't request those because I wanted a king-size bed and a balcony. I wanted to open to the balcony. So I requested those first, and then I just said, yeah, the whole hotel is probably haunted, so I'm not going to worry about it. But it turns out we didn't have any activity in our room at all. No lights, no doors opening, no items moved, no sounds except for somebody above us, like, sounded like they were dropping a bowling ball again and again. It was shaking our light above our heads. But it was really crowded and really noisy. That night there was a motorcycle group in town, and I love motorcycle riders, but there were 2 really obnoxious. Out of the whole group of hundreds of them, there were only 2 that were obnoxiously playing explicit lyric songs as loud as possible through town and in the parking lot. So that made me mad. But anyway, other than that, I mean, it was really noisy. So if you want a haunted room, call and talk to somebody and request, like 218 or Theodora's room, or I can't remember the other room. I think it has a jacuzzi tub in it though. But it definitely fun to stay, definitely fun town to visit if you ever get the chance. All kinds of cool stuff in the area, and it's just beautiful. So that is all I had to say about that. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any stories about the Crescent Hotel or any other ghosty things, I love all that stuff, so put it in the comments. Let's chat about it. And that's all. So hope y'all have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.